right. Thank you. Thank you, David, for that. We're going to move on with the press conference and move on to coaches. Not really sure the order that we usually do this in. Whatever. Sounds good. Coach Farley, would you like to go? Ladies first. Coach Peterson coming off of a pretty exciting weekend with a couple wins over a top 15 team. And Coach Peterson.
Thank you. First, I want to thank David for his leadership and all the people that were involved in the strategic plan. And we look forward to moving forward and accomplishing those goals as well. I would also like to thank David for traveling with us this weekend, but I did tell him that he needs to clear his schedule because he will be traveling with us for the rest of the season. So that's now in his plans, and he doesn't know it. So, obviously, very excited about coming off the weekend that we had. I think for us, the biggest thing going into the weekend was getting an opportunity to come together as one team and not compete against each other, but come together and compete against another team to put some actual practice plans together that, in my opinion, the team understands. Obviously, as coaches, we have things that we think we want to do, but until you go out against another opponent, you don't really understand, and your team might not understand why you're working on some of the things. I think going into it, I'm not going to talk about each match specifically, but be happy to answer specific questions to those matches. But some of the things in general, I think the biggest thing for me was our ability to fight and grit it out. Obviously, the first weekend, there's not a lot of scouting report that goes into it. Most of the game plan is specific to our side of the net and then trying to figure out the other team as the match is going along. And we do have some veteran kids out there, but we also have some new faces on the court. And I thought our team did a really good job of figuring out the other team on the other side of the net and making adjustments as the match went on. So I was really proud of that because I think for me, it makes things in the future, some advanced things that we might want to do when competing against other teams, very possible because of what they were able to do in that type of situation. The other thing is, like I said, first weekend, nothing was perfect for sure. There's a lot that we can work on, but the ability to just fight and grit it out. We were definitely outsized in every aspect, played very physical teams that all had very different teams, but big and physical, and our ability to just hang in there and grit it out. I think one of the biggest pluses in my mind was that Kentucky match when we probably played one of the I'll just say worst sets that I've ever been a part of in terms of nothing went right for us. You could just tell we were back on our heels because nothing was going right for us. Everything went right for Kentucky, but that is one of the positives of volleyball. You can turn around and have the next set where you can completely erase what just happened, and our team did a very good job of that. I was praying that we would get to double digits. That's how tough that third set was against Kentucky, but then to be able to turn around and win the next two with the fourth one being pretty tight was a huge credit to our team and to the leadership that we have out there on the court. So that was probably one of the highlights for me for the match. I think a couple just performances. Rachel Coop made her debut as a starting setter, and I couldn't be prouder of her because I think one of the parts of our game that struggled a little bit was our passing. Put a lot of pressure on her to run an offense and put up hittable balls, and she handled it like a champ. I'm really proud of her effort, and then was able to do the other parts of the game as well. Obviously, you can't just run the offense. You have to be able to dig balls, serve, block, and a lot of other skills as a setter, and just really proud of her effort. Carly Taylor also made the all-tournament team. She's that kid for us that always has provided that big hammer on the outside. She's gotten to the point in her career where she can develop other shots. She's been able to mix up her arsenal, but she's also that sixth rotation player for us this year, which puts a lot of pressure on her. A lot of production is needed from her in both the front and back court, and I thought she stepped up and had a really good weekend as well. Kate Buswitz had her debut and played great for us in the middle. Offensively, she's always worked hard as an offensive player, but I think the part we challenge her with more is the blocking side, and she did a really good job of making improvements in that area, and I know an area that she'll continue to work at. And then our backcourt. I have to give our backcourt a lot of credit. And The people from USC, that was the compliments we got. You guys just keep the ball alive. You keep the ball alive. And a big part of that is our backcourt with Kendall Sorgi as our libero leading the way. But also we have Taylor Hedges, Abby Stack, Lexi Astro got in there in the backcourt. So all stepped up and did a really good job for us this weekend. So, it's definitely something that we're going to feed off of this weekend, but we also know we have a lot more to do. There's a lot of season left. So I always tell our kids, win or lose, we got to take those moments right then and there, and then we're moving on. Because obviously this week, we're moving on to a very big week. We're extremely excited to be at home this early. It doesn't happen very often for us. So excited about that. We bring Iowa State here on Wednesday. Which we're hoping for a sellout crowd, or at least a record-breaking crowd. And with both teams being from the state of Iowa, we really think we have the potential to do that. But Iowa State was preseason ranked at 21st. Always a big physical team at the net, but also one of those scrappy defensive teams. They have a great serve and pass game. They are led by their All-Americans, Jess Shaban on the outside and Grace Lazard in the middle. They also have an All-American and Libero of the Year in the Big 12, Haley Hilligus. So those are the core of their team. They had a great recruiting class, played at home this weekend and went 1-1, played a tough Oregon State team who definitely will be ranked in the top 25. So we were looking forward to a lot of fun with that match. I think the one thing about that match is it seems to bring the best out of both teams. And we've had, especially the last few years, just downright, I call them brawls. When you're playing for 3 hours in a volleyball match, you know that that's a battle. And that was what it was the last time we were here. So looking forward to that, and always a really well-coached team, but should be a lot of fun on Wednesday. And obviously we're pushing for that record crowd. Then have the opportunity on the weekend to bring Pac-12 powerhouse Washington State. Washington State has a husband and wife coaching staff that took over, I think it was about 6 or 7 years ago, a team that was 0-18 in the Pac-10 at that time, and have completely turned that program around. They have had back-to-back appearances in the NCAA tournament where they have won the first round. They return every single starter, which is crazy. Every starter, they have 6 seniors. Don't know a lot about what makes them good at this point. We'll get video on them this afternoon, so I'll have a little bit more opportunity to see what they're doing and some of their strengths. They do have a couple outside All-Americans, so I know they get a lot of sets, so defending that outside pin is going to be huge for us. But again, looking forward to another opportunity to be at home. So very excited about that, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Especially with how difficult it's been, not just for UNI, but other programs to get these traditional 14 round-robin tournaments. How fortunate is it to have this partnership with Kentucky, USC, and Creighton to have this rotating tournament where it's really a beneficial, powerful challenge for all the teams involved year in and year out?
It's been awesome to be able to do it, and I think the strength of it was basically shown by being able to redo it. So this is the 5th year. So we went through the 4 years, and all 4 teams were willing to sign the contract for another 4 years. So that was huge. I will say, though, every year after the tournament, we're all looking at each other like, oh my gosh, we just beat each other up for the weekend. But I think it's a huge positive for all teams involved. And obviously, we're really excited to be a part of it. Not going to lie, at the beginning of this tournament, there was not a lot of talk about Northern Iowa. Any of the chat sites or any of the volleyball world out there, it was about the 3 ranked teams that were in the tournament and what those matches were going to be like. So we are thankful that those teams allow us to be a part of it, and we're hoping we are proving that we deserve to be a part of this tournament as well. But a lot of great opportunities, actually win or lose in a tournament like that.